What's going on, guys? Wander Nomad here with a beautiful sunny South Florida video. Yeah, sitting here outside of a port in Tampa, and just waiting on a driver to bring a load to me. I don't have a TWIC card, and rather than having them pay for the escort fee, they're going to have a driver that has a TWIC card bring the load off the port to the drop yard here where I'm at. So yeah, this I have hit my 2-month mark here with Shaffer Trucking, Crete Carrier Corporation subsidiary on the reefer side, and yeah, just wanted to go back to my paper plate here and update you guys based on experience now, not just off of what we've heard, not based on what a recruiter tells you. This is going to be straight facts from the road. So here we go. Some of this stuff will be just, same as the last video, because I can only speak on it from my experience, such as pay. From what I know, it is still $700 a week. In training, if you're new, then you'll be at 41 cents with Crete, 43 cents with Shaffer, and after 6 months, you will go to the national account fleet or whatever, which I think, if I remember right, they said is 47 cents for Crete, 50 cents for Shaffer, or it might be 50 and 53. I can get clarification if you guys would like that. The maximum pay you can get starting here is 53 cents on Crete, 56 cents on Shaffer. However, that is not the maximum pay here. The maximum pay right now, as of recording of this video, is 57 cents for Crete and 60 for Shaffer. That is the current max out pay you can get here. Bonuses, they do not do sign-on bonuses. They do quarterly bonuses of 2 cents per mile if you meet certain mileage requirements, which vary based on whether you're with Crete or Shaffer. And you have to have less than 12 safety points. Obviously, if there's a negative before, then you're good. So yeah, that's the quarterly safety bonus. Basically, you just have to meet a couple pretty easy requirements if everything works out for you. I'm kind of on the fringe as to whether I'll get it or not, due to all the breakdowns which you guys saw in previous videos, all the breakdown issues I had. So I may not get it this quarter, might have to wait till next quarter. That has yet to be determined. I'll find out the end of September. Truck type and year, they do Cascadias. They have a couple of Kenworths, 680s, and a couple of Internationals. They're phasing out the Pro Stars to bring in LTs. I don't believe I've seen anything older than a 2016, though I think they're trying to get rid of those. Right now, I'm in a 2017 Cascadia. I was in a 2016. They do have some manuals, but mostly automatics. Much as I hate to admit that, I prefer the manuals. How long is the truck with the company? Again, I can't speak on experience, but the other one I had 425,000 miles on, and I gave it up so that I didn't have to deal with any more breakdowns. This one has 315,000 on it, so I'm guessing it's going to be with me for a little while at least. Maintenance program, they're pretty decent with maintenance to an extent. They do the best they can. I'm not going to fault them for that. But based on my previous encounters. It's been rough, so I can't give a full picture just because when one thing broke and got fixed, another thing would break. Sometimes it was the same thing. So unfortunately I can't really speak on that. As far as roadside breakdowns, they are good about that. They do prefer to use TA for mechanical stuff and Loves for tires, I believe. So and they're pretty quick about that. It's just up to whether the technician can be quick about getting to you. I had a breakdown on the side of the road last week or the week before, and had to have a technician come out, serpentine belt through because the tensioner went bad. I was down for about 4 hours or so with that, just because that's how long it took them to get to me. Because they had a few other road calls. Breakdown pay, I can't really speak on. Well, actually I can because of the previous. It is $50 after 12 hours, I believe. From 12 to 24 hours is $50, and then it's $100 a day after that. However, if they have options for you, you will be required to take it, otherwise you lose your breakdown pay. If they have a recovery for you, or if they have a loaner truck and you refuse it, then you lose your breakdown pay. So be careful of that. If they have nothing, then you'll still be getting paid, like I did that one time, getting paid to sit in the hotel for a while. Detention pay. Well, I'm Shaffer. I can speak on that. From what I've noticed, I believe it's the first hour is free, and then it's $15 an hour after that, based on my experience. It might be 2 hours. I haven't really double checked my detention times with what I've gotten paid, but I have been getting paid detention. Anytime I send in the detention alert, which is a canned message right on the PeopleNet, you have to let them know if you were on time, you have to let them know if you're at a dock, if unload has started, tell them who you talked to, and the reason for the delay. They'll receive the detention alert, and you'll get paid, up to your empty call. You got to fill out a detention form. Once that's done, when you go to scan in your paperwork, you have to fill out a detention form. Home time, I'm on a 21-day fleet, and they're usually pretty good about it, but sometimes things come up. Murphy really kicked me in the rear. If you saw my video regarding When It Rains It Pours, I believe I called it. It was definitely everything that could go wrong. Those couple of days did breakdown, and then customer closed early and I couldn't get there because of the breakdown, which led to my next load picking up late, but it couldn't deliver on time because that customer closed like 2 hours before I could have gotten there. So I ended up having to wait till the next day to go home, but they still gave me the full home time. They did not, because when I picked up the load, I put in my PTA saying I'd be ready, I believe, Sunday morning, but because I got home a day late, I said Monday morning. They asked me, they're like, you want to stay the extra day? I said, yeah, I'll come back out of the house Monday morning. No problems at all. So, but they have a 6-day, a 14-day, and a 21-day, I believe. They might have some local options depending on where you are. You would have to ask your recruiter about that. I don't know all of the local options they have. I don't know all of the regional options they have. Stop work authority I have not had to use. It's August, so the weather has not been too bad for me to be able to stop and still make my load on time. I've run through a couple of storms, or I've had to pull over for a couple of storms so that I could, be safely off the road, and no questions asked about that, but I was still able to pick up or deliver on time depending on what it was I was doing. So I never had to really worry about sending messages or whatever about that. Bluetooth, well, you can see it's in my ear. They do allow Bluetooth, one-touch Bluetooth. You can use the over-the-head ones. I did do another video about that as well. Being that one of my pet peeves is the people who have both ears covered. I don't know how you're supposed to hear the sirens or anything as they come up behind you, but I don't know. They do allow Bluetooth though, as long as you're following the DOT rules, which is one touch. You're not supposed to have both ears covered, that kind of stuff. Next on here is 48 state. The answer, based on my experience, is I don't know. I spent entirely too much time stuck in the Northeast. Yes, I live in Pennsylvania now, but still was stuck for almost a month, basically shuttling back and forth within the Northeast. There was a 2 or 3 week period where I didn't go south or west of Pennsylvania. So that's something to keep in mind. I finally did get on my dispatcher and say, hey, I'm not a regional driver, and now I'm down here in South Florida. So I'd like to think that maybe talking to my dispatcher worked. My next load goes up into Georgia. Hopefully I'm not going back to Connecticut or something from there. Not that I hate those areas, they're beautiful areas, but I will get more miles running than sitting in traffic. So, and I don't mind going up there once in a while, don't get me wrong on that. I do not mind going up there once in a while because I'm a company driver. I go where I'm supposed to go. The freight is where the freight is. So, yeah, I mean, you go where you go as a company driver. But again, I didn't sign up for regional, so I don't want to be a regional driver. If I wanted to be a regional driver, I would have signed up for it. That's that about 48 state. I have heard of other drivers saying that they do go out west. They go to Texas. They'll shuttle out there and then come back east for home time. I don't know. I will be able to do more on that at a later time. And this is just absolutely perfect because the next thing on my list is, do they have a pet policy? And easy answer is yes, they certainly do. The way that they do it is it's a $750 deposit, which goes toward cleaning the truck, whatever. If if you clean your truck out well and stuff like that, when you leave the truck, it'll either roll over to the next truck if you're getting a different truck, or if you leave the company, you'll get that money back. But they do specify on the pet policy agreement that you sign that you will have half a cent per mile taken out for the privilege of having a pet, which half a cent a mile when you're getting paid well, to me, it is absolutely worth half a cent a mile, which comes to what, $30 a week, $20 a week that I miss out on to be able to have this beautiful girl here. Next one is the rider policy. I'm pretty certain that they allow that as well. I do not have rider paperwork for any friends or siblings or anything. I want to say that that's 2 years that they allow. Raven wants to be in the video again. But for spouse, it is 10 year. She can be on the truck with me at any point in time as long as I have the paperwork until 2029. So, and I have the paperwork there to show it. Fuel. They do fuel at all of the major truck stops, though. it's been rare that I've fueled at a TA or Petro. Mostly it's Pilot and Flying J and Loves that I fuel at, and the fuel routing, there's only been a couple of times that I haven't been able to follow their fuel routing. Like the one day they had me get 80 gallons in Ohio and then wanted me to drive like 500 miles or something to South Carolina to fill, and well, that was kind of difficult because I had to drive down 77. If you guys know anything about 77, once you get the Ohio-West Virginia border, you're basically in the mountains till you hit North Carolina. So I was able to get down to Charlotte, but had to put in a few gallons. You just call them up and they'll reset it for you. APU or inverter, they do have APU, or they do not have APUs on the truck, but they do have inverters. I honestly don't know why. I think an APU would be better than the optimized idle that they have, because the optimized idle is using just standard idling fuel. It's just using the same amount of fuel as idling, which is roughly a gallon an hour. With an APU, you're using a gallon about every 3 hours, so over time it will offset the cost, but that might be something that they're looking into. I'm not privy to that information. Hopefully it is. APUs, in my opinion, are better. They're quieter than the truck idling, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully in the future we're looking at that. They do have inverters. I believe mine's an 1800 watt. I believe that's what they're putting in all of them, either 1500 or 1800 watt. Hopefully that's enough for what you need. It's enough for what I need, which I have a PlayStation on my truck with my TV. I have a toaster oven. Just have the extension cord plugged into or the surge protector plugged into the inverter there. Fridge. They do have fridges. The way that I got mine was a used fridge, so I believe I paid for the install cost and the fridge was free, or maybe I paid a little bit for the fridge and a little bit for the install. Not sure 100% how that worked, but I do have a fridge on my truck, and a lot of the new ones are coming with refrigerators, which is nice. I mean, you can eat a lot healthier when you have a fridge. You can keep meats and stuff like that, so you don't have to eat at truck stops all the time, because we know how good the roller grill is there at Loves and Flying J and all that stuff, and everybody loves the buffet at Country Pride and Iron Skillet. If you don't, there's something wrong with you. No, you get tired of it real quick. In the beginning of your truck driving career, it's nice to have those kind of options and the freedom to not be limited to what's in your fridge. And then you get about a month in and you realize that food is all crap and you want to just eat on your truck. And there's restaurants and stuff inside just about every truck stop, but there's only so many times you can eat Subway, Arby's, McDonald's, and Hardee's before you get tired of it. So yes, a fridge is definitely good to have on your truck. And it's also good to have a rider with you who, while you're driving down the road, if you got a 600-mile day ahead of you, will go, "What do you want for lunch?" And we'll just make it for you. So, terminal amenities. Every terminal has showers that I've been to. If you guys know of any other ones, let me know that maybe don't have showers or are terminals. Let me know if you've been to ones that are not like that, so that I can put them on my list of no-go terminals unless I'm specifically assigned to go there with a load. But all the terminals I've been to have showers. They all have vending machines. Some of them now are starting to get the healthy options vending machines, which has like vitamin water and trail mix and healthy options in a vending machine. And from my experience, they're about the same price as the normal vending machines. It's not like they're overinflated because they're healthy. I think just about all of them have shops, although the shop times vary from terminal to terminal. Some shops open up at 6 in the morning and close down at 2:30 in the morning. So those are definitely good. I know New Kingstown, Lenore City, and Columbus all have those hours, but I don't know about the other ones. They are all in the driver's book that you get when you attend orientation as to what the shop hours are and the terminal hours. Terminal hours are kind of, banker's hours, 8 to 5, 7 to 5, something like that somebody will be in there. And the hard part about that is to get extra EFS checks, especially if you're a Shaffer driver. You have to actually see somebody at the desk because they hold on to those. But you can pick up your trip sheets and detention sheets and all that kind of stuff at the terminals. So some of them are pretty close to dining options. Some are pretty close to hotels. They're all obviously close enough to hotels because they got to have somewhere to put people when they're in orientation. Haven't been to Lincoln yet. I've heard, given that that's the headquarters, that is the nicest terminal we have, but I don't know. Family emergencies, I cannot speak on that. I was told that they will do whatever they can to help you get home in case of an emergency. But I can't speak on that. I've thankfully not had to deal with that. Reassigning a truck can happen same day when you get to a terminal. I think that I'm trying to remember why I wrote that down. That might be in with the truck life with the company. You can, reassignments that give you they'll give you the keys, have you drive around the lot, make sure it's up to your liking, make sure that everything's good, and then they have the change-out stations at the terminals that everything's basically on the same level, so the platform is on the level with the floor of the trucks, or maybe just a couple inches below, but it's not like you have to climb up and down into each truck. Just go straight across to the other trucks. That's pretty nice that they do that.
You had that one because you wanted to see how soon they reassigned the truck if you were on vacation or something.
Oh, okay, my clarification. That is how long before the truck is, you would have to move your stuff out of the truck if you're going on vacation or whatever. That is up to dispatch. I would say probably a week or 10 days would be the most without having to get approval, just because that's how long most people's vacations are. And actually, speaking of vacations, you get 1 week at 1 year, 2 weeks at 5 years, and I believe 3 weeks at 10 years, and then you don't have to work that long before getting the vacation. It's at 1 year, you get a week vacation. At 2 years, it's a week. At 3 years, it's a week. At 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, it's 2 weeks. You do get vacation every year, paid out at your average weekly rate. So, if you average $1,000 a week, which as good as they pay, hopefully your average is much higher, but if you're breaking down a lot like I was, if I was to average right now, it's probably be about $1,000 a week gross. So that's how they would do that. Dispatch type, it is how should I put this? Strongly encouraged dispatch. We do have the option to refuse loads, but there's got to be a reason for it. I have not refused loads, though I have given them reasons why I would. One of the reasons would be you don't have the hours to legally or safely run it. me personally, after spending almost an entire month just in the Northeast, I was about to the point where I was going to turn down any load that went to the Northeast because I wanted miles. I wanted to run. But usually what you can do is call in there and they'll tell you whether to decline it, or maybe they'll just pull it off you so that it doesn't look like it's going against you. Force New York City. Well, you'll go through New York City a lot, whether it be across the George Washington Bridge or across the Tappan Zee. There's a lot of loads to Connecticut, at least on the Shaffer side. I have not had any loads go into the city, but I've had to drive through it entirely too much, if I'm being honest. So I don't know, but I think you can turn down New York City loads. I think that's what I was told, is that you can turn down New York City loads. Terminal setup with dispatch, I honestly don't know, because the dispatchers for the national fleets are all in Lincoln. So I cannot say that, I can just walk up and talk to my dispatcher, because I don't know. I haven't been there yet. As far as dedicated or regional drivers, I'm guessing that you can. It's pretty easy when you go into terminals to talk to people, whether it be safety or dispatcher, even the terminal managers. My home terminal in New Kingstown, if you just walk up to the reception desk there and say, hey, I'd like to speak to the terminal manager or the assistant manager, just let them know. They'll go get them, or they'll call and say, hey, this driver wants to talk to you. It is pretty open door policy. I know at New Kingstown, one of the things that I like is when you're standing at the reception desk, directly behind is the office of the terminal manager. He's got a window right there, and if he doesn't have anybody in there, his door's open, so he can see anybody that comes up to the desk. So I do like that. Does dispatch pull loads? Absolutely not. Unless there's a reason to. They don't pull loads for owner-operators. They don't pull loads off owner-operators for company drivers. Everything, if it's on you, it's on you, whether you like it or not. I've never had the issue. The only time that loads have ever been pulled is if I can't do them, or if it's not feasible. Like there was a load going somewhere or other that they pulled off me because it wasn't going the direction of home for my home time. So that's fine. They don't just pull loads just to pull loads unless the customer cancels, which in 2 months I have not yet had. 24/7 planners, yes they do, but on nights and weekends it is more difficult. So a lot of the planners will try to set you up on Friday for the weekend, so that you don't have to worry about that. Usually when you pick up a load, they're already starting to look for another load out of wherever you're at for your PTA, so make sure that your PTA, or projected time of availability, is always correct, so that you know when you can or will pick up the next load. Do they micromanage you? Nope. Though there have been instances where I felt micromanaged, or woke up from sleeper birth or something like that to do something. There have been times where that's happened, but they're not calling every hour asking, where are you at? When are you going to be there? They'll send a message and they'll wait for your response. If their computer says, hey, you look like you're running late, or you're cutting it close, or something like that, they'll send a message, are you going to be on time? And you just reply back, yes, and then they leave you alone. There was one load I had It had 5 days to go 700 miles, but it was a big window. I could have delivered it whenever. I got a message that that said I was on a tracked load. You know, they needed to make sure I was going to be on time. So I just responded with, no, I think I'm going to take a 34 reset, followed by another 34-hour reset, and then I'll take a 10-hour break, then I'll start rolling on the load, just to kind of make a joke, just because they know that when I can run, I do. So, yeah, I mean, they're still a good company. There's very few reasons why I would leave here. And I'll get into that in another video. I just kind of wanted to give you guys an update based on my paper plate. 2 months in, maybe we'll do another one about 6 months. Hopefully by then I've been more places, you know, and if I'm still around here a year in, then we'll do that. But I just want to encourage y'all, if you're looking for a good company that tries their best to take care of their drivers, check out Crete Carrier, Shaffer Trucking. It's worth it. The president of Crete and the president of Shaffer come out with weekly videos, weekly update videos on like the state of the company. Every 30 or 60 days or something, they do a live video where they take and they answer questions from drivers or from even anybody that wants to watch. I mean, it's live on their YouTube, so anybody that wants to watch it could watch it. So at least they're all about their drivers here. They want to make sure that the drivers are taken care of, at least at the top. There might be issues with the middleman, but at the top they care about the drivers. So thank you guys for watching. Be safe out there. If you have any other questions, let me know, and if it's a question that deserves its own video, I'll go ahead and make a video, shout you out in it. And otherwise I'll definitely, I respond to every comment I get. So if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, feel free to let me know. You guys be safe. Take care.